Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to round two here of SCG Regional Championships. I'm your host, Andrew Donnelly. With me, as always, my co-host, Matt Dow. Matt, what do we got going into round two?
So in round two now, we have Adrian Sullivan on your left. He's going to be playing blue-black control. And then we have Eric Gehrls, I think maybe his last name. Sorry if I butchered that. And he's on a red-green monsters deck.
Okay.
So
So, both decks that have seen play over quite some time here, correct?
yeah, indeed. Adrian's been playing this list for a while. I know he played it at Pro Tour Concept Arcade, similar list. So and Eric playing the red green monsters deck, which has seen some play pretty recently too. Won some SCG Opens, got some sweet new cards in Shaman of the Great Hunt, maybe Yasova Dragonclaw, stuff like that. So you see Adrian on his tablet here, which should be
He's wondering where we're streaming currently.
ah,
So we're giving him the link so he can pass it on to all of his friends.
sounds good. I thought electronic devices were not allowed at the table.
We're banned at the table.
But
Apparently,
we'll allow it for some promotion here.
yeah,
from
we
Adrian.
can. We'll allow it for the stream promotion.
So
Currently on a 50-minute timer still. Round has
yeah,
not started.
Round has not started for them. We'll start when they start playing. We'll let Adrian tweet out that he's playing in a feature match for us. All right, so looks like we're about to get underway.
So here we go.
Adrian going to lead off with the Temple of Deceit in the red zone. Eric looks like he's going to start out with an ideal start for his deck and play an Elvish Mystic after cracking a Wooded Foothills to get a forest. I think that's a forest. That's some altered forest for sure.
That looks crazy.
No, it looks like he's just going to crack and pass back.
Very
Adrian
cool,
going to play a Temple of Mastery and continue setting up his draw.
Got to take the shuffle here after the fetch, huh?
Yeah. So Adrian just going to pass back. And there's the Elvish Mystic. Little turn too late. There's another Wooded Foothills cracked. We'll see what Eric's play here is.
You think the blue-black control deck is on the advantage here, being on the play, even against an aggressive deck like the Monsters list?
It's definitely on the advantage being on the play against this deck.
Sure.
For sure. Eric has Goblin Rabble Masters and Shaman of the Great Hunts, which can be a little difficult if they're played on turn 2.
Yep.
Well, I mean, in the case of Rabble Master, turn 3 in the case of Shaman of the Great Hunt, since they essentially have haste. So, Adrian, just play another Temple of Deceit and ship it back. Eric looks like he doesn't have a third land. He has an Elvish Mystic in his hand and a Yasova Dragonclaw. He's going to play a Elvish Mystic, essentially make a land drop for the turn, and ship it back to Adrian. Adrian continuing to hit his land drops, and he's going to play a Perilous Vault and say, okay, dude, you better hit your land drops, or else next turn I'm about to Stone Rain you twice. And looks like Eric is going to fail to make his land drops. So we'll see if he plays cards into this Perilous Vault. I imagine if he does, he's going to play a Shaman of the Great Hunt.
There it is.
Attack in for 4. And then trigger the Shaman of the Great Hunt and get a counter on that guy.
Shaman of the Great Hunt, another really powerful card out of Fate Reforged that this Monsters deck was looking for.
Yeah, I think that card is really good. The haste and then being able to draw cards, and then just being able to make your team gigantic. So Adrian going to play a Urborg and then, get a 3-for-1 to crack his Perilous Vault, and those should be exiled, yeah.
Yep.
So things are looking pretty good for Adrian here. Eric draws another blank, and we're just going to ship it back.
He just can't do it off 2 land.
No, he can't, yeah. And that Perilous Vault was pretty good for him.
Wow, Liliana Vest.
Pretty bad for him, yeah. We'll see what mode Adrian chooses here. Looks like he's going to tutor for a card and put it on top of his deck. Yeah, so Eric not in a very good position here. I wonder, he doesn't have any Lightning Strikes in his deck, so he can't end step Lightning Strike this Liliana to kill it. So let's see what Adrian goes and finds here. Adrian thinks that he could go find might be a way to kill, which would be Ashiok. I think Ashiok is his win condition in this deck. So I imagine that's what he's going to find. Ashiok also a pretty good card against this monster deck.
Definitely.
I think a pretty good card in general against the green decks.
What was that dismal backwater coming in to play for Adrian last turn? So
Yeah.
he's going to bump himself up a life.
It's like he's gonna. So he kept a dissolve on top. He went and tutored for a dissolve. Now I imagine he's gonna go try to find a way to kill his opponent. But I don't know. He's the master. I am just not even an apprentice. So we'll see. He's gonna play an Opulent Palace and ship it back to his mana-screwed opponent, who now I imagine has a million.
Has to discard
continues
again.
to discard.
Wow.
Yeah. So draw just didn't really line up for Eric, and now Adrian is gonna make him discard some more cards.
Yep.
And here's a Perilous Vault. So Adrian might be on the ultimate Liliana plan. That might be his win condition
Sure.
here, but I think her ultimate is to get creatures back out of the graveyard.
Yep.
And Eric has 3 creatures, I believe, in his graveyard right now. Yeah. Adrian has a bunch of permission in hand and some card draw. He's gonna make his opponent discard again. Just getting up to that ultimate, baby.
That's what he wants, man. That's the new win condition.
Yeah, I like it.
Ashiok not needed.
No, not needed. Not needed at all against these creature decks that aren't doing anything. So Eric hits 2 land drops in a row here. Maybe he can get back into this game, but I don't know. Facing down 4 cards in hand from Adrian and a bunch of mana open, it's going to be pretty difficult for him. So let's see what Eric's follow-up here is. Looks like a Xenagos the Reveler,
I mean,
which is, a pretty good card, especially against control decks, but I imagine Adrian's just going to dissolve this.
he's tapping a lot of mana there for the... Oh, Jason's Ingenuity. Okay, so he's going for the card draw, looking for the dissolve.
He has a dissolve in hand. He might be just
Okay.
trying to find he has a 1 of negate.
Sure.
So he might be trying to line that up instead. I think that's probably what he's doing. So he does choose to dissolve. Gonna take his turn. Just gonna tutor again. So if we are on the ultimate Liliana plan, it's a couple of turns away, to say the least.
He's using the tutor mode pretty effectively, though.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I said, Adrian's been playing this deck for a while, and he's a pretty competent pilot with it. So plays a Radiant Fountain there, get a little bit of value off of his lands, gain 2 life. So Eric draws a Crater's Claws. I wonder if he will try to hit Liliana with that. Sure enough, he Crater's Claws to Liliana. Adrian says, well, alright.
That happens.
That happens. So Adrian went for another dissolve to protect himself. Still no Ashioks, which I think is a little odd.
Boy,
And
what are the chances...
Going to be a dig through time.
Well, peeking a Storm Breath there, but there's a dig.
Yeah.
What are the chances we see a great Villainous Wealth out of Adrian Sullivan?
The chances, unless he forgot to add it to his deck list, are 0.
Very low? Okay.
Yeah. So Adrian resolves dig through time, takes dissolve as 1 card. I'm not unsure what he took from another card. Plays a swamp. He has a Hero's Downfall in hand. Adrian, well in control of this game, already has a Perilous Vault on board.
Yep.
There is the 5th mana for Eric, who's going to play a Sarkhan, the Dragon Speaker, which I can't imagine is going to live past this turn. Adrian going to crack the Perilous Vault, and that guy should be exiled, I believe.
I like that sweep of the Perilous Vault, by the way.
Yeah.
The sweep it over the whole board to remind your opponent that, in fact...
Some nice flair there from Adrian.
Everything is being removed.
Eric going to follow up with a Stormbreath Dragon that's going to get Silence the Believers, so that should also be exiled.
Wow.
I believe this Sarkhan should also be exiled.
This deck just not allowing its opponent to...
Top deck Thoughtseize from Adrian.
Jeez.
His opponent shows him a hand of 2 Stormbreath Dragons, a Tamir Battle Rage, and is that a Courser of Krufix? Is it like an alternate art Courser of
There
Krufix?
is an alternate art Courser of Krufix that just came out in the Clash packs.
There's like 100 alternate Courser of Krufix, I think.
There's one.
Really? There's
Yes.
Okay, so there's... Yeah, you're right.
There's one.
There's one.
It just came out, but it looks sweet. It looks great. He's opening a portal for you to visit the lanes.
Oh, so that is the Corsair crew fix then?
Correct.
Yeah, all right.
Yes, if I can see that. Right. He's got the one hidden under the Pelucranos.
No, that one, yeah. So Adrian's
That
going to
is,
take
yes.
the Corsair crew fix, alternate art course. Don't see that one every day. And then he's going to ship it back. Eric going to try to play another Stormwrath Dragon. It's
Nope.
going to eat a hero's downfall. He's going to play a Temple of Abandon and ship a card to the bottom. Adrian going to continue to make land drops behind a wall of permission.
This is.
There's another Stormwrath Dragon.
Nope.
It's going to get dissolved.
Oh, jeez.
And Eric's going to be like, well, that was my test spell. Here's my Elvish Mystic. And Adrian's going to say,
Gonna die
nope.
too.
Nope.
And there's the
there's
Ashiok. All right, come on, Ashiok. Find something good.
No creatures
Nothing.
there. Bunch
Nothing.
of blanks, but still. Eventually she'll find a creature, and Adrian will put it into play, and Eric will probably die to his own creature, I imagine.
Yeah.
So there's a Sylvan Caryatid for Eric. Not very good on this board of Ashiok. Ooh, a Shaman of the Great Hunt.
That's good.
Adrian can activate that too and draw some cards, I think.
Yes, he can. That's a card that you want to hit with Ashiok.
Spicy. There's an Interpret the Signs for Adrian.
I love this card. That's
This
a one
card
of,
is sweet.
That's
yeah.
a one of in my deck too.
Yeah, and I think he was the first person that I saw to use this card. So he's going to scry 3 and then draw, reveal,
And then draw that many cards.
Correct, yeah.
Of the CMC of the card reveal.
correct. Yeah, so he revealed his divination, and then from that he drew 3 cards.
That's great.
Yeah,
Man.
real sweet when you reveal a dig through time.
When you
and
hit a
draw
dig through time,
eight cards.
Yes, it is 8 cards.
Sign me up.
All right, so Eric, can you get something going here? or
Now
you
he
just-
drew another land and has
Yeah,
a card,
this is
the Tamir Battle Rage, in hand. So Adrian gonna play the Shaman of the Great Hunt and attack. Eric gonna chump block. Adrian
We
gonna
see
play
a
a Dismal Backwater, go up to 18, and we'll see if Eric can answer his own Shaman of the Great Hunt, which is actually a really sweet card for Adrian to review.
Have you been counting the cards Adrian's drawn this game?
Oh, no,
I mean, it has been. It has been.
I have other
just
tasks
bananas.
besides counting how many cards Adrian Sullivan has drawn
Yes.
when his opponent is stuck on 2 lands, and yeah.
Go ahead, cut my deck.
Let's see. Oh,
Ooh.
Dueling Shaman of the Great
This
Hunt.
is- but is
Unfortunately,
this gonna
Adrian has
resolve?
9 million
Nope.
mana open and a Hero's Downfall. So I wonder if he's gonna unstep draw card.
Jeez.
Oh man, this is pretty sweet.
Activating your own
I
shaman.
think that's probably the best card for Adrian to
steal?
To steal.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah, because now it's going to be a 5/3. He can activate it and draw a billion cards every turn. Super sweet. So another Ashiok. Ooh, another.
Wow,
Oh,
another
baby.
shaman. So is he on the plan now? Is this shaman blue black control? Is that what this is?
Yeah. Maybe he's gonna go back after this and
To
add some
be-
red to his deck. And
To be fair, doesn't the Rabble Master present an even larger threat here than an additional shaman?
no, man, Shaman is way more fun.
Yeah, so you're just gonna keep playing
Yeah.
shamans?
Yeah.
I don't know if you
Yeah,
run
because
that.
now he gets double triggers. Plus that has haste.
Oh, that's true.
So now
Oh, jeez, these guys are gonna be
he's
big.
gonna attack in for 9, and then his opponent's just gonna be dead next turn anyways. But I don't think he's dead if he attacks with Rabble Master. Yeah, he might be. Yeah, he probably is still dead either way. But the Shaman is just way sweeter.
Yeah, it was very cool. Wow. So that was a lightning fast game from Mr. Adrian Sullivan
Yeah,
right there.
that was a whooping. But that's what happens when your lands get perilous.
Yeah,
vaulted.
Eric was not in a good position with that perilous vault.
Yeah, certainly not. So
What
let's
we got for
move
sideboards?
on to the sideboards here. We'll start with Eric's deck. He has 2 Ranger's Guile, 2 Anger of the Gods, 1 Bow of Nylea, 1 Nissa World Waker, 2 Reclamation Sages, 2 Mistcutter Hydras, a Circle of Flame, 2 Nylea's Disciple, a Setessan Tactics, and a Chandra Pyromaster. So, cards that I like in this matchup would be the Planeswalkers, Nissa, Chandra. I can see bringing in some Mistcutter Hydras as they're a hasty threat that Adrian's deck really doesn't have. I mean, it has like a decent way to get rid of them in downfalls and stuff like that, but they are a hasty threat that can just be gigantic.
Sure.
And then maybe maybe both of the Reclamation Sages. They're kind of narrow, but Perilous Fault is really, really good, as we saw in that game. It's pretty good against Eric's deck. And so Reclamation Sage is a nice way to take care of that.
I like the Chandra here too.
Yeah.
that
Chandra
card
definitely.
has proven last Thursday at Nerd Rage Gaming when we had the standard tournament on for Nerd Rage Gaming Live. There was a Chandra that just went to town. I mean, the zeros from that card were amazing. Just bringing its owner back into the game with quality spells. Now, granted, you have to hit kind of quality spells to make it worthwhile. Hitting a land isn't a bad option either, but it was amazing. I mean, that card is just phenomenal.
Yeah, and it's definitely good against the control decks here. Adrian's control deck, since it's just a way for Eric to gain card advantage that doesn't get swept up by like a Crux of Fate, which Eric is probably going to put Adrian on, although Adrian has eschewed Crux of Fate this weekend and is just
Really?
playing 4 Perilous Fault.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what do we have for Adrian's sideboard?
So in Adrian's sideboard, he has a Thoughtseize, 2 Disdainful Strokes, 3 Negates, 1 Silence the Believers, 1 Aether Spouts, 2 Drown in Sorrow, 1 Farika's Cure, 1 Cranial Archive, 1 Tassiger the Golden Fang, 1 Pearl Lake Agent, and 1 Prognostic Sphinx.
Okay,
So
sure.
Adrian definitely a fan here of the one-ofs, which makes sense in a deck with Dig Through Time in that they're a little bit easier to find since you are looking through so much of your deck. So cards I like from Adrian are definitely the Disdainful Strokes. I like Farika's Cure also. I think that's probably pretty good. Silence the Believers I think is probably pretty decent. I would probably bring in a Thoughtseize also. I don't know if I like any of the Pearl Lake Ancient, Prognostic Sphinx, Tassiger's Cranial Archives. I don't think.
How do you feel about Drown in Sorrow?
Uh,
Is it worth the spot over your removal that you have in the main board already? Do you really need the mass removal? I guess.
yeah, that's the question. Like, I think I don't know. It's tough for me to say just because, like, Shaman of the Great Hunt makes it so things get out of Drown in Sorrow range. But Drown in Sorrow is it's probably the best answer in the game.
Sure.
In Standard at least right now to Goblin Rabble Master.
Okay.
Uh, so I don't know if I bring him in. Adrian already has 2 in his sideboard. Things that I might take out would be like Aether Spouts, maybe probably some card drawing, maybe Liliana Vess. The negate seems a little narrow. I know it can hit Xenagos, but that's Xenagos and Crater's Claw are the only cards in Eric's deck that it can hit. So.
But you don't like the Pearl Lake Ancient here. Interesting. Okay.
No.
Well, they're getting into game
Yeah,
2, and it looks like Adrian's going to be on the maul here.
I think Ashiok's probably our win condition.
Yeah.
Yeah, which kind of feels bad, but maybe we bring an extra one in.
Well-
maybe a Pearl Lake Ancient. So we'll see. But Adrian's going to mulligan to 6. Eric's going to snap it off. Probably has a little bit more lands than he did last time.
I'll tell you, the Ashiok didn't feel bad last game.
No, Ashiok was sweet last game.
Yeah, Ashiok was very good.
But, I mean, Perilous Vaulting away our opponent's, 2 mana sources was really what got Adrian that game.
And that's the trick, right? We know Wizards of the Coast doesn't like land destruction, or affordable land destruction, but if you're playing a green red deck, and you're running out a bunch of mana dorks, and I kill your mana dorks, I'm stripping the land.
Yeah. So, like, Caritas are cards I just don't really like in this matchup from Eric. Mystics I still like because they give him his best draw. And there is a Mystic on turn 1. There's a Dismal Backwater from Adrian. So, we'll see if... he does have the turn 2 Goblin Realm Master, which, like I said, this is his best draw. If he can follow this up with the Shaman of the Great Hunt, I think Adrian's going to be under a lot of pressure and have to quickly find an answer. So...
Dan Cardenas, known for the Green Red Monsters list, likes this lineup, loves this draw. If this is the setup that he can get.
So we'll see. He does have an untapped 4th land. Looks like he does have a Shaman of the Great Hunt in his hand, so I imagine we just slam that. Nothing bad happens to us if we play Shaman of the Great Hunt if we have it. He has a Ranger Scowl, card I don't really like, but I guess it's alright. You saw a bunch of targeted removal from Adrian, so I guess he doesn't have the Shaman. He's just going to attack Adrian with the team here, even that Elvish Mystic.
I like that.
Yeah.
Get in for the free damage if you
Gonna
can.
smack Adrian with his wand. Let's see what his follow-up here is going to be. So a Tamir Battle Rage on the Rabble Master to give it double strike. So it's going to hit Adrian for 8. And then Adrian is going to take 3 from the other guys. So under some pressure here.
Nice
but
attack.
I mean, this is a situation where Drown in Sorrow would be nuts. We'll see if Adrian has it. Just have a third untapped land.
Nope.
He's just going to ship it back.
Oh, boy.
He has a Drown in Sorrow, so... But there's a Shaman of the Great Hunt. Oh, he has Ranger's Gal.
Yep.
Yeah.
That seems
so Ranger's
good.
Gal, pretty sweet there. And Adrian's just going to scoop him up.
Wow, what a great opener.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
So
pretty good hand from Eric there.
Eric in game 2 showing you the power of the nut draw from Green Red Monsters.
From turn 2, Goblin Rattamaster on the draw is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I even like, I'm going to be honest with you, I like the Tamir Battle Rage, as I think that's a card that is going to see a lot of play coming up in a few decks.
I hate that. I actually hate that card in this deck.
You hate it in this deck?
Yeah.
What don't you like about it?
I don't know. I'm just not a fan of those. Cause, like, it's just, you're just asking to get 2 for 1, or you're just asking for it to rot in your hand and do nothing.
The potential is there, for sure. I won't deny that. Yeah, the potential for a 2 for 1 is very high. I think there it worked out solely because he had the Ranger's Guile from his sideboard, and he was able to kind of apply additional pressure with Adrian playing so many tap lands.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that card, combined with the explosive natures of a lot of the red and green creatures, is just really strong. I like it with Fanatic of Xenagos. I think it's super good because Fanatic can turn on its own ferocious ability. Even though it already has trample, it's kind of irrelevant. Just applying it to another creature. So if you go Mystic into Fanatic,
the 3/3 that has tribute.
Yes, the 3/3 with tribute and trample.
Yeah.
Which I think is a stellar card that can see play. Maybe not in the monsters list because monsters are a little bit more mid-range, but potentially in your aggro lists.
Yeah.
The ones that play Seva, the ones that play.
I think Fanatic of Xenagos is probably a better card than Yasova, to be fair. To be quite honest with you.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
So, players going to shuffle up here for game 3. Adrian, thankfully for him, is going to be on the play, so he might have a Bile Blight up for a turn 2 Rabble Master.
Yeah.
Where last game he had nothing, just one land open. Interesting of note that Adrian doesn't have any Murderous cuts in his sideboard, so he's only delving for dig through time.
That's interesting. I wonder if the Drown in Sorrows came in or not, because that would have been an opportune time for Drown in Sorrow.
On the play, I'd bring them in.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the draw, though,
not so much.
No, because like if Eric curves out like he did last game, then Drown in Sorrow really doesn't kill the things you want it to kill. It's going to kill if you cast it on turn 3 and he already has cast a Shaman of the Great Hunt.
Sure.
With like a Rabble Master out, then it's not going to kill the Rabble Master or the Shaman.
Gotcha.
So I think it's still probably a fine card, and I'd still have some number of them in my deck. I don't know if I'd overload on them though. So both players are going to keep 7. Adrian going to lead off with another Temple of Malady. We have dueling temples here. Eric looking at another Shaman of the Great Hunt. He already has one in his hand. He's going to ship that one to the bottom. Adrian can now have infinite black mana after playing an Urborg.
You don't have to carry it.
Eric has another Elvish Mystic in his hand, interestingly enough. So Adrian going to play a Radiant Fountain in game 2. And ship it back to Eric. So let's see if Eric has a... So there's a Rabble Master. Adrian
Promptly
downfall it before combat.
Holy cow.
Interesting to note, though, that Adrian does not have blue mana, and he is missing his 3rd land drop. So there's another Rabble Master.
Wow. Really putting on the pressure.
It's going to eat a Bile Blight. Eric also missing his land drops. Adrian, there we go, finds a Temple of Deceit. Has another downfall in hand, so he's loaded up on downfalls. There's a 3rd Rabble Master. It eats a 3rd removal, so from Adrian. So.
I don't think these things can come out fast enough.
Adrian looks like he found a 5th land in a Dismal Backorder.
Yep.
He has a Tassiger in his hand, which is another Delve card that he has brought in. So I imagine that's what he's going to cast here. No. Yeah, Tassiger.
I like that.
Exile Delve 2. And this is a pretty good roadblock for Adrian. It blocks Shaman of the Great Hunt, which would be Eric's best 4-drop play. So Eric looks like he's just going to slow down and try to develop his mana a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He obviously didn't have a 4th land drop, or 3rd land drop to have 4 mana, so he couldn't cast the Shaman of the Great Hunt or the Xenagos in his hand. So I imagine Adrian just leaves his Tasker back, unless he has some removal for like a shaman or a rebel master. But we'll see. It's pretty good for Adrian that he ripped those 2 blue lands. And he's just going to ship it back. Like I said, keep the Tasigur on defense in the case that our opponent draws an untapped 4th land and hits us with a shaman, or maybe the 4th Rabble Master gets played. So
There's a Xenagos.
yeah, there's a Xenagos. I wonder if this is a test spell from Eric. Card isn't really all that great on this board. I guess you could start ticking it up, or just get value out of it and make a 2/2 that Adrian now needs to answer.
It's nice because he also provides a form of mana that's I feel vastly overlooked when you look at Xenagos the Planeswalker. So now he's essentially boosting Eric up unless we see a wipe here from Adrian. Eric has 6 mana to play with now.
Sure. Adrian on the end step there activated Tasigur's ability to get back his Gehrls downfall. So looks like now he's going to freak his Gehr that token, and then he's going to kill the Xenagos with his Tasigur. So pretty good turn there from Adrian, representing Dissolve still.
Yeah.
So I'm not unsure if he has one in his hand, but he also still has a Hero's Downfall for any large creature that Eric might play here. So it looks like he's going to run out of Shaman and try to get in there, but I imagine this is going to eat some sort of removal spell.
Well, it hit the field already, right?
Yeah.
Because Adrian
still
moved to Dissolve.
Yeah, he does have the Downfall that Eric knows about from...
Do we have a Ranger's Guile in hand? Is that what we're...
Yeah, we do. And Adrian, that's probably what he's mulling over here. I think he's put him on Ranger's Guile. Which is interesting. I'd just downfall this thing.
Would you? Just snap it off?
Snap it off.
I mean, I'm gonna tell you, if you didn't see the beginning of this match, the removal spells were dropping like lightning bolts. Like, Adrian Sullivan could not get these things out fast enough.
Yeah. So Adrian chooses to not downfall in response to the attack. He's going to take some damage and let that guy trigger, and then he's going to bait out the removal spell or the Ranger's Guile from Eric. So Eric does have Tamir Battle Rage in his hand, which is actually a pretty good card here against this Tasigur. Going to give that Shaman of the Great Hunt double strike if he goes to block it. So Adrian in the tank here.
Shaman of the Great Hunt. Good aggressive card.
Yeah. Adrian has Pearl Lake Ancient in his hand, so he's really hoping to find his 7th land drop. He also has Interpret the Signs and an Ashiok. So he can cast an Interpret here, but it causes him to tap out. So we'll see. Eric's going to untap here with a 5/3 Shaman of the Great Hunt, threatening to draw cards and threatening to get in there. See what Eric's line is here. Adrian would really like to draw
Stormbreath.
Perilous Vault or something like that. So
yeah.
A Stormbreath Dragon. So Eric's gonna swing in with the Stormbreath Dragon, which is interesting. Adrian choosing whether to kill this or not. I think he's probably just bluffing that he has removal here. Pretty sure he doesn't have anything. So if we...
Activate Tasigur?
Yeah, he's going to activate Tasigur. And his opponent's probably going to give him Farika's Cure. And if he gives him anything else, he's pretty crazy.
Sure.
He's got 2 5-power creatures. Yeah. Adrian definitely looking for a Perilous Vault here. That's probably his best draw. So he's going to
use the Urborg.
Use the Urborg
Sure.
and kill the Mystic to gain some life. So a little bit of value there. Looks like he drew his 7th land, but it comes into play tapped. So now he's going to tap 5 mana and cast a Prognostic Sphinx, which is a pretty good roadblock for this Stormbreath Dragon.
Yep.
Especially after killing that Elvish Mystic. Takes him away the possibility that our opponent can go monstrous anytime soon.
Sure. Not to mention, I mean, even if you... I guess you have to keep the Tasigur back to keep the Shaman in check, and you can't really... So both these creatures can't even get in. to the red zone for Adrian.
No, he's just on defense till he finds a perilous vault. But yeah, of note, Eric did miss a trigger on his Stormwrath Dragon, which would have made it a 5/5, which would have allowed it to attack through this Prognostic Sphinx. So
here we go.
Eric's gonna probably just try to get in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure enough. We'll see how I imagine Adrian is going to line up blocks. Eric's obviously representing some trick because right now this attack just allows his Shaman of the Great Hunt to trade. Adrian chooses apparently not to block.
And we see the Battle Rage.
Get Battle Raged.
That Tamir. Now we'll see Tesker.
Okay, so yeah, Adrian. Interesting. Yeah, so the dragon will trample over, and that's why he gets the counter. And Eric's Shaman of the Great Hunt is going to trade with Tasker. So if Adrian can find a removal spell for this Stormbreath Dragon, he's in he's probably stabilized. I don't particularly like that play from Eric. I probably would have Tamir Battle Rage the Shaman instead, and just let my guy bounce a billion times. That way we don't just die to one removal spell. Although I guess. Yeah, because we can continue to like threaten monstrous, especially with all these dorks in our hand. So we'll see. Adrian, there we go, off the top, finds the hero's downfall.
That's what he needs. Allows him to eliminate the dragon in this situation.
Definitely. So he's gonna probably fire it off here while his opponent is tapped out and can't Ranger's Guile.
Yep.
Then he's gonna resolve an Ashiok, which is also really good. And
oh boy,
milk some good ones, although no creatures. So he's gonna ship it back. We'll see what Eric can top deck. Another Stormbreath Dragon. So Adrian got a little unlucky there.
Elf and Stormbreath, yeah.
Yeah, gonna kill Ashiok.
Good play.
Adrian looked to draw a spell there.
What are you hoping to find for your
Perilous
Adrian right
Vault?
now? You want that Perilous Vault
Yeah.
still? Clip 3 mana dorks and take a dragon with you?
Yeah. If we had Crux of Fate, I'd say Crux. Crux of Fate actually isn't all that great since it has
the dragon
dragon's mode, yeah. But he's not playing any, so he's definitely looking to draw a Perilous Fall here. And Eric drew another good one in Xenagos the Reveler. Just drawing many cards off the
Now we
top
can
that
pump some
Adrian
satyrs out.
needs to answer immediately. Gonna make a 2/2 Satyr.
I like this card late game from Eric too. I think
It's
that's
a really good
super
card against the control decks especially.
Yeah.
Eric's only going to attack with
not
the
to
Stormbreath Dragon, so playing around Pearl Lake Ancient, which is a pretty good play because that is what Adrian has, and he's going to fire it off. And there's an Opulent Palace, so Adrian's still searching for a good way to wipe this board, and he's slowly running out of time here. He's down to 13.
Boy, Eric has some good plays potentially next turn, making this Stormbreath monstrous and getting in for some extra damage.
Well, if he makes a Stormbreath monstrous and Adrian, so like Adrian's in a bind here. He has Interpret the Signs in his hand, but he can't really cast it because well, he's gonna cast it.
He's gonna cast it.
If he finds like any spell, he's just gonna draw a bunch of cards. So he needs to find a spell that is like less than 3 mana, because if he finds a 3 mana spell, he's going to draw 3 cards. Well, I guess he can still play a land, but the Stormbreath Dragon can then just monstrous, and we can attack with our two satyrs and the Elvish Mystic, and that's I think lethal. Provided Adrian has.
I mean, do you even make an additional satyr, or do you just use the Xenagos for the mana to
I make a
turn
satyr.
yours?
I think you have to make a satyr. You can monstrous right now without.
Sure.
Adrian going to play an Opulent Palace and hope to live one more turn, although I don't know if he's going to get there. Of note, Adrian's not playing any Murderous Cuts, as I mentioned, but I mean, he's representing Murderous Cut. And Eric there, I think, is probably going to play around that card. He's done a pretty good job of playing around other cards, so I imagine that's a card on his radar.
So you don't think he's just gonna take the chance and just go full bore?
No, I don't think so. Not against a player of Adrian's, quality.
Well, there's the additional satyr you wanted.
So I can't imagine he's going to Monster Stormbreath Dragon here. It would be the correct play, but he gets completely blown out by Murderous Cut. Yeah.
Oh boy.
So
And
he
there's
is,
the monstrous, yeah.
So not even playing around Murderous Cut. It's like he heard us. So Adrian's going to take 4, I believe.
He's going to take 4 cards, yep.
And then, yep, going to
That's
kill
it.
him.
Wow.
So Eric Gehrls defeats Adrian Sullivan with his red-green monsters deck. Yeah, Adrian just couldn't draw a Perilous Fault there. And
Had a chance, had a lot of removal early on to kind of whittle down the first few waves of creatures. He was snapping them off very quick, so I don't know if there was a chance there. You definitely needed to be sure you clip the Goblin Rabble Masters and things like that. But it was also, I think, to some degree, very important that you plan for kind of these later games as well. You have to be. These red-green monsters lists just play so many cards that are powerful, even in the late game. The Xenagos allowing you extra mana, allowing you a 2/2 body. Stormbreath Dragon just consistently a threat.
yeah, I think it was correct for Adrian needs to answer all the Rabble Masters, so I don't fault him for downfalling. I think Eric just drew pretty well in that game and beat him because of it. So Adrian drew some clunkers there, like Parlaic Ancient and Interpret the Signs, which didn't impact the board in any way when Eric had a pretty formidable board. So
yeah, that board state was very aggressive. Gotta love Shaman of the Great Hunt. That card did some work.
Yeah.
On both sides of the field, whether you were Adrian Sullivan taking it with Ashiok or you were Eric just straight up playing it.
Yeah.
Got to remember the triggers.
Definitely.
So this is 15 minutes left in the end of round 2, getting close here. We've got 9 rounds today.
9 rounds of Standard today, and then a cut to top 8.
Cut to top 8. So there's definitely a lot more to watch.
Yeah.
You want to talk about some Standard cards?
Yeah, sure.
What color you want to dig into? We had black control this time and red green. What did we touch on last time?
We should go with the second best color in Magic and go for white.
You want to do white?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see what we have for our standard playmakers in white. So we can see the top row there of the highest played percentile-wise standard cards. We got Elspeth, we got End Hostilities, we got Seeker the Way, and we got Burmaz. Pretty impactful cards all around. I mean, all those cards are very strong.
I'm kind of angry that Heliod's Pilgrim isn't on that list.
Yeah.
I might just have to, slam my headset down and get out of here.
Heliod's Pilgrim did not make the list, percentile-wise.
That's unfortunate. Yeah, these cards super impactful.
Definitely.
I think Elspeth got a little worse after the printing of
Silumgar?
or whatever.
The Pug Dragon.
Since that card is just a complete foil for her.
Yep.
She's still a great card.
Still very good. Still seems play. I mean, it's still a tough card to get around for some decks. Burmaz is a favorite we've seen stretched across multiple formats as well. So he's playing Legacy, so he's playing Modern, and obviously in Standard.
Burmaz is a great card.
Yeah.
I think it's an underplayed card.
Sure.
I think it's really good. It's a must answer. It dodges a lot of removal. Bile it dodges Bile Blight. Still gets hit by Abzan Charm and Hero's Downfall and stuff like that, and I guess Valor Stance now too also, but still a great card. If it goes unanswered, it's pretty hard to beat.
So you've got some picks down there in the bottom right-hand corner. What are you looking for to see today?
Things that I'm looking to see that I don't particularly think I'll see, but things that I think are sweet. Mastery of the Unseen. I think there's a deck out there for that card.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody has found it yet, but I definitely think there's a deck out there.
I'll tell you, I found a deck.
You found a deck?
I found a deck, and you know what it was? It was a Kalia EDH deck, and I slammed that thing right in there.
Oh, okay.
But I know what you mean.
That doesn't count.
But I agree with you.
Yeah.
So continue. What deck would you like to see that card in?
Just any deck that can take advantage of manifesting morphs. So, like I mentioned in round 1, manifesting morphs I think is just kind of broken. The morphs have a high morph cost for a reason because they do something extremely powerful when they flip off.
Correct.
If you get them for cheaper, chances are you're doing something correct, and in some sort of like control-ish deck maybe. Although I don't know if there are any good control morphs outside of Keru Spell Snatcher.
Keru Spell Snatcher.
The ability to gain 1 life allows you to be a little dirtly. So
I wouldn't mind seeing that in a Whisperwood white-green Whisperwood Elemental deck. I would play this card. I think that it's a perfect home for it.
Yeah, I think so too.
So what about Jeskai Barricade?
I just think that's a sweet card. I don't imagine to see play, but it has a couple of my favorite things. Flash.
Okay.
And then it also has the ability to to like bounce things to your hand.
Yes, it does.
So those are definitely some things that I'm interested in.
And it's an 04 body, so
Yeah.
it's not a body to laugh
Yeah,
at. It can block down a lot of stuff.
It's got a butt, although
Yeah.
like Deputy of Acquittals is similar.
Yeah,
I think that
yes.
card also had flash and then
It did.
bounce.
Bounce a creature.
Yeah, but it could attack.
It was a 2/2. Yep.
So that card saw 0 play.
One
so.
of my favorite draft cards, though. Love Deputy
Yeah.
Acquittals. In a limited format, Deputy of Acquittals was very good.
Yeah, definitely. So how about you? What do you want to see out of the?
Well, Citadel Siege was my first pick when I was making the list, just because I think that all the sieges are good, and I know we talked about this off camera a little while, but that one in particular can be applied to a lot of situations. Control decks can play it to tap down their aggro opponents, and aggressive decks can play it to essentially bolster their creatures.
Yeah.
And I just think it's an all-around good card. Personally, myself, I would like to play it in a control deck. I think it lends a lot to being able to control the board. I'd probably pair it up with the Blue Siege, which I believe is Monastery Siege.
Indeed.
And I like that to protect my own permanents, tap down your permanents, and just manage it that way. Almost like an old blue-black control, or blue-white control, I guess, kind of list.
I feel like, finding a deck where you can use both modes, where you can either Icy Manipulator somebody with the Dragons mode, or you can give some of your creatures +1/+1, would probably be the best place. I don't know if I would play Icy Manipulator guy. I don't know if I'd play a 4-mana tap a guy like Martial Law, for instance.
Sure.
Like that card was, if we're just playing the Dragons mode in like a control deck without any creatures, that card saw 0 play and is better than the Citadel Siege
Just the
effect.
tap down? Sure.
Yeah.
So maybe you're right. Maybe we find it in a deck that that works like a sort of aggressive green-white list. Maybe it's playing Fleece Mane Lion. I feel like Lockstone Smiter would have been a great card for this to be paired up with, but is no longer in Standard. My other pick was Monastery Mentor because, far be it from me, people could not find a place for this card, and I want to see it played.
I think you'll see some today.
Yeah.
I think this is probably the most powerful card out of all the ones we've selected so far.
That's kind of why it seemed like a choice pick, and I didn't pick it solely for its power as much as I haven't seen it used effectively, and I really wanted to. Like, people were all over Young Pyromancer, and granted, it's in red, so the color is naturally supplying you with more instants and sorceries. But there's so many spells now that you can. I mean, there's a million spells you can cast now to power this card and just make these tokens.
Yeah, and I think in like a Jeskai type deck, like a Jeskai Ascendancy deck where you're already trying to have a bunch of spells to fuel the Jeskai Ascendancy, and then you have the token generators that trigger prowess and give you additional creatures. I think that's probably the best home for it.
Sure.
I know I've seen some people put it in like red-white decks that generate same thing, only they're not playing blue for the Ascendancy. They're just playing a bunch of token generators and then, cards that cantrip, like Defiant Strike and stuff like that. I've seen some deck lists like that. So I can imagine it being shown up there. But it's definitely just it's a super powerful card, and I think we'll see a home for it.
Well, I hope so.
And I hope we have enough monk tokens if we do.
We definitely have monk tokens.
Oh.
Well, guys, we've got about what looks to be 9 minutes left in round 2, so we're going to take a quick break. We'll put the timer up. Make sure you stick around and join us for round 3 of this 300-plus player event, correct? I mean, there are a lot of people here today.
Yep, Search City, regionals.
That's what people
Bring
want.
them out.
Yeah. All right, guys, we'll be back in a little bit.